Hey everyone, welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. Hey guys, recording in a different space today, so pardon the room echo. Hopefully it's not too awful bad. We should be able to adjust a little bit over the next couple weeks though. On to the stories. Don't bother. Hey everyone, obligatory apologies for formatting because I'm on mobile. I work for a large organization as a member of the help desk team, one of about 50 people. We basically function as a call center. I have plenty of memorable calls, but I wanted to share this one because it still makes me laugh. At the tail end of 2020, I was assisting a user who was reporting that their computer was running slower and slower and slower as the day wore on. I gathered the basic information and remoted to the user's PC. I checked all the normal culprits like looking in Task Manager for extra instances of programs running, clearing out old files, etc. Nothing was working. I shifted to running repairs from the command prompt, like dism/online/repair-image/check health and sfc/scan now. When those yielded nothing, we turned to a group policy update. As you may or may not know, a group policy update will have you log out and log back in for any policy changes to take effect. I had the user sign out and try to sign back in. An important note, my organization requires everyone to be connected to their VPN to even so much as sign into the desktop, at least while we're teleworking. I say to try to log back in because the VPN connection failed. A quick fix for this is to just restart the PC. I have the user turn the PC off and then try to turn it back on. No lights, no sounds, just a very, very dead computer. The following exchange occurs. Me. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure why your computer is fighting us this hard, but if the computer is just completely unresponsive, then we'll put you on the list for a new one. Another note, our organization was in the middle of replacing the older computers anyway, so they didn't need much of an excuse to just replace them. User starts laughing hysterically. If you're being honest, then I'll be honest. I don't understand any of this nerd crap, so F it. My original retirement date was tomorrow anyway, so don't bother replacing it. I guess I'm done today. I'm going to go eat some cake. Have a great day. My hero. Me, unsure of what the technical protocol is for this situation. Well, okay then. Enjoy your retirement. That is awesome, OP. I'm nowhere near retirement age yet, but I hope I've got the nuts to do just that. Wait, you're not alone. Hey y'all, whilst working on the help desk in my current company, I came across a lazy manager who lied to me. You don't lie to me. One quiet night shift, me and my colleague, TP, were waiting for calls. Because it was such a quiet night, we could hear each other clearly as we sat together. This is how it started. Lazy manager. Help, my keyboard isn't working. TP, have you tried a different USB port? Lazy manager. Yes. TP, try to reboot? Confirmed by checking log. Lazy manager. Yes. TP, is there a spare keyboard knocking about? Is there another keyboard around? Lazy manager. No. TP, are you able to nip out and purchase a USB 2.0 keyboard? It has to say USB 2.0 on the box. Shop staff can take cash out of the drawer for supplies, etc. Lazy manager. No, I'm single manning tonight, working on his own, and there isn't anywhere I can buy one right now. TP. We'll send an engineer to replace it first thing. Just log on to the other till for the night. Lazy manager. Thank you. After he hung up, I asked TP for the address of the shop. After a quick Google Earth search, I noticed right next door is a computer repair shop with keyboards in the window. After checking, it's still open. I call the shop back and tell the manager if he locks up, he can get a replacement next door for his staff for the morning rush. You see, by the time the engineer arrived, it'd be near 1200. This is how my call went. Me. Is this Shop X? It's me from Help Desk. Oh hi, yes, this is Shop X. What's up? Me. I know you're single manning, but if you want a replacement keyboard, next door is open until 2200. I'm not single manning, this female employee says back to me. Me. Oh, the manager said he was alone. FE. I heard. He's hiding upstairs in the office like he always does when we're busy. You can call him on X. Me. Are you busy tonight? FE. Very. We need 2 on tills tonight. I have to go. Click goes the phone. Shocked by the laziness of the store manager, I decided not to call the manager but call his boss, knowing it's Friday night, and the last thing he wants is a call on a Friday night, and how many times I've been done over by lazy managers. I fill in the area manager who is livid that she's been left alone. The manager would not lift a finger to help, and that I called him out of hours on a Friday. I forgot. He said leave it with me. After a couple hours, I get a call from Effie again. She's laughing when I pick up. Me, Company X Help Desk, me speaking, how can I help? Effie, is me there? Clearly didn't hear me through the laughter. Me speaking. Effie, I owe you big time. The area manager just came down unannounced and found the manager asleep, in his chair. He was told to go home. After purchasing that keyboard, and I've been put in charge for the weekend. Me, no worries. I hate lazy lying managers. You still busy? Effie, yeah, but we've got coverage for till 2 now. A few weeks later, ShopX calls again on an unrelated matter, and it turns female employee is now female manager, and the old manager was fired for multiple things. The sleeping on shift was the last straw. OP, that is fantastic. I'm so glad you were able to catch this guy being lazy and not doing his job. There's a certain amount of satisfaction you get from being able to set somebody like that straight. Staying one step ahead of the user. Having returned from our road trip the previous week, Buddy says that I shall accompany him on the next site visit as there were a number of systems to be installed and he needs a hand. Work went well and I sat and waited while he went off to talk to the office manager. While he's away, another user approaches me to ask some questions. Do you guys support this database program? They ask, holding up a manual. No, we don't. We only support word processor systems, I replied. Well, it's installed on the computer, but no one knows how to use it. In that case, let me have the manual and I'll get back to you next week. Great! Buddy came out and we set off back to base. I asked Buddy, however, he had never used the program either. On returning to base, the support manager admits to having never used it, but can get me the program in 24 hours, as we're a dealership. I spend the next 3 days reading the manual and trying the program, then I phone the client. We can now offer training and support of the database program. Excellent, can you come over Tuesday? Yeah, I'll see you then. I went to site and gave a full day's one-to-one customized support training on the program, and also sold a support contract so they could phone up with any further queries. The best was yet to come. The support manager got a call later in the week from the site manager saying that he wanted to extend the contract for all the remaining word processor systems as well. Yeah, sometimes it pays to go above and beyond. It shows goodwill and usually gets you extra work. And I'm glad to see that there's one company out there that didn't expect you to just do it because you were there for free. The Waitress ain't the tech department. Hello everyone, first time posting. A bit of a longer one. This one happened back in 2017 whilst working a summer job. Granted, restaurant waitress doesn't exactly scream tech support. You'd be surprised how difficult it is for some people to grasp the basic concept of a cash register. And soon enough, one gets used to the fact that some people think that rebilling somehow erases the mucked up bill, which still somehow ended up being my fault, despite the fact that I was told to just stand back so as not to screw up. But nothing had prepared me for what I was in for next. The first day on the new job, I found out that the owner hadn't even gotten a cash register, aka no tax, big fines. And being the computer girl, as evidenced by my ownership of a laptop and finishing high school for graphic design. The responsibility of setting up the cash register, once it came, fell to me, alongside working on and mending any issues with the card terminals. Sometimes I'd get asked to literally burn the boss a CD. Yes, an actual CD with music for his car, in 2017. And or putting said music from that CD to the boss's iPhone 7. Other times, it was making the menus or correcting the same. But hey, at least I got to literally play scrim on the job. All the usual till the Italian bike club arrived. Note, I don't live on an English-speaking country. If you want to work the season, you have to know English, German, and Italian at least. This will be important later. Fast forward to the bike club arriving. Standard warning, €1,000+ bill for the bunch. After a while, the club's guide decides that he'll pay with his credit card. And just then, the card machine runs out of paper. I see the card's been approved on the screen, and he shows me a text from his bank that it did go through. Fast forward to the next morning, when last night's total does not include said bill. My boss goes ballistic on me, and decided to sort the matter once they came back, as they checked into the hotel attached to the restaurant. Soon enough, the day finally comes. Remember what I said about languages? Well, he only spoke German, and claimed to speak Italian from that list. No English. Despite that, he insisted that the guide talks to me in Italian, and that I translate it back. I try the machine as usual. Rejected. He pushes me aside, calling me an idiot. Tries it himself with the same result. Again, and again, and again. Now by this point, I'm getting tired, and the conversation had turned to bank calling and he said, she said. Until at one point I'd had enough, and just told the guide, Il capo parla italiano. The boss speaks Italian. And I know I just mangled that. I could see the guide crack the widest grin I've ever seen. Meanwhile, the boss, sitting at the reception desk, shot a "I'm gonna kill you" look at me as the entire motor club, like 12 or so people, opened up on him. Yeah, I don't know what European bike clubs are like, but you don't want to screw with people like that here in a club in the US. That's just a bad way to go. End user is confused by USB. This is a story from my time in retail IT, where we handle both credit card readers, signature pads, but also barcode scanners. I worked for a medium-sized, 150 employee, 27 location retail company specializing in cellular resales. Think authorized retailers for carriers. I was called in as the director of IT to take over IT for a company without, well, IT. Prior to my entry, it was actually just disjointed computers without any management, even AD. Towards the start of my work, we had a store manager from a small-ish store who it was always apparent she didn't know tons about electronics, but I figured she had to know some stuff about electronics to be the store manager at a cell phone store. Boy, was I wrong. We generally deployed one wireless scanner for inventory and the rest were wired, for cost reduction. And this store had one wireless scanner. Before I got there, cheaper, lower quality scanners were purchased from Amazon that regularly broke and had zero, literally no, documentation available. This store manager somehow kept putting the scanner into inventory mode, but no one had any idea how. Apparently, a certain series of button presses on the base, which she kept doing, would send it into this mode. After months of IT tickets regarding this, and telling her to stop pressing those buttons repeatedly, we made the decision to remove the wireless scanners as they were clearly too difficult for this store to understand how to use properly. We sent a symbol wired scanner, more expensive but far better, to the branch, which plugged in via USB, and was plug and play, as it emulated an HID keyboard. I put instructions in the box and I thought that would be it, until it wasn't. I get an email forwarded from one of our inventory operations employees saying they've received an email, seemingly to avoid IT, asking how to set the scanner up. The email read along the lines of, "Hello, I'm not a fan of me, so I'm hoping you can help me. I need someone to drive out to my branch to set up this scanner. It's very confusing. I've asked everyone and nobody knows how to do it. Thanks, store manager." I reached out to the employee and the conversation went something like this. Me: "Hi, SM, I understand you were having issues with setting up the scanner?" SM: "Oh God, yes. I followed the instructions and it's very confusing." Me: "So it should just be a USB cable. Have you tried plugging it into the computer?" SM: "There's no open ports." Me: "Have you unplugged the old one?" SM: "It has two cables going straight into the ground. Turns out it just had a bit of slack tucked into the desk. So easy fix." However, she continued to be utterly confused by the USB cable, then refused to troubleshoot further. Asked for another employee who said they had tried to help but she refused to let them. Plugged the cable in and it worked fine. Astonishing how some people have the jobs they do, isn't it? It really is amazing how some people get to the positions they're in. I don't know if it's just butt kissing, if they had the right degree, maybe they knew the right person. It still blows me away how many people are in positions that they are clearly not qualified for. Fun and good times with sales taxes. Today's sales tax day. I work for a slow book subcontractor, and unfortunately, I started right in tax season. So sadly, I've been too busy keeping up with my work to write much, with tax season not just looming overhead but breathing down our necks. At the time of writing, we're in mandatory half lunch mode, and I'm on my half lunch, but I'm not hungry, so I'm writing here instead. As one would expect though, I have a few tales. This one is about an ultimately nice customer, so I'm not going to badmouth them at all, but what they did is certainly the story worth telling. I even tell my other customers this story since it's just so memorable. At Slowbooks, we have a reports function, and on this customer's reports, they were showing sales tax twice, on different amounts, so naturally they called. At this time, I was fresh out of training, so I messaged the T2 immediately, and we eventually dug up what was happening. This customer claimed he was moving from the old tax system to the new tax system, and it was screwing things up because tax was being collected twice. Knowing this isn't normal, I first decided to actually look at his tax custom rates. The taxes displaying twice didn't correspond to the ones with the custom rates, so that was out. Next, I looked at an invoice, and this is where things got weird. Now, at the time, I didn't notice anything wrong because I wasn't actually trained on how our sales tax system works, since we're typically expected to get the tax team involved via our T2. But what I did notice was that he had a line item for his sales taxes, and also that our automated system took sales tax on his subtotal, including his manually input sales tax. This will come back into play later, but I dismiss this as a relic of the old system. Now, in his defense, we did migrate from a hybrid manual automatic rate system to full automatic with user-editable custom rates. I wasn't educated on either tax system, so I was just going by what my T2 suggested. So I decided to look at his products to see if we could disable sales tax on an item for testing purposes. And there I saw it. Hundreds, and I mean hundreds, over 200 manually input sales taxes as products. Turns out he never actually used our tax system until now, and thought he was supposed to manually enter every tax as a line item. Oof. And when he set up the new tax system after being notified the old one was being discontinued, he thought it would remove his line items. My T2 responded in Slack with the pic of the captain from Star Trek. Never watched it, been meaning to. Face palming. So I carried on, not letting the absurdity of what I just saw get to me, and told him to just stop adding line items for taxes and let us handle it unless he needs to fix rates, in which case he can make a custom rate in the new system, and to mark his old system as either tax exempt or remove the line items. And that, sadly, we can't do this automatically. After the call, I felt like taking a cold shower. Too long didn't read. Customer inputted hundreds of tax rates as line items and didn't realize this was intended until our auto sales tax kicked in. Edit. Just for clarification's sake, there isn't actually a way to turn off sales tax collection on the particular version of Slowbooks. Yep, this is why training for your software is important, kids. Don't ever assume. Every bit of software that I get, if I don't pay for training, I'll at least spend hours, if not days, online researching. Doesn't mean I always get it right, but I try. Airline boarding pass printer not working. Years ago, I was a field service engineer for data equipment. In the halcyon days before the internet. Anyway, one time I was checking in at the airport to travel to a country job when the check-in assistant suddenly couldn't print my boarding pass. She tried everything, removed and replaced the blank tickets, opened and shut covers, turned it off and on again, but nothing was working for her. So I asked her to try one last thing. Please close her fist and thump the machine up the back on the top left corner. She looked strangely at me, looked to check no one else was watching, and then did as I asked. The printer immediately sprang to life and produced my passes. She was so grateful because the waiting lines were pretty long by then, and asked her how did I know. I told her it's a standard application of professional percussion maintenance. Yup, gotta love percussive maintenance. I learned that as a kid with our old TV set. My dad knew just where to hit that thing to make it just straighten right out. It didn't matter what channel you're on, how good or bad the signal was. You could knock it in and out of signal just with a little thump on the side. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. If you've enjoyed this content, would you consider giving this video a like? Maybe subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!